Fishes!
Paul, thank you so much for coming to chat.
Yeah, pleasure, man.
So how's things going?
Not too bad. You know, we just truck on as we always do.
Truck on. And then recently you just shot a new music video for Terminatrix.
Yeah, we a couple of years back we decided, because you know we're not really a metal band, we're not really an industrial band, we're not really a goth band. It's kind of
It's a mixture of everything.
alternative mix of all of that. But Sonia, our vocalist, she used to be a full-blown goth, so it's still in her soul.
Yeah,
so we kind of bring it out often, but then we decided a couple of years back for World Goth Day.
Yeah.
So like, okay, let's just lean into it specifically for that and do like a classic cover version every year for that. So,
Okay. So what cover did you do?
we did Sisters of Mercy, Marianne, and the year before that we did Bauhaus's Bela Lugosi's Dead.
Yeah, cool.
And the year before that, actually, our first unplugged song we ever did was for Typo Negative's Black Number One.
Yeah, I love
So
that.
we shot like a live unplugged version, which was quite daunting because we always have so much electronic shit.
How many people are actually in?
It's four of us: myself, Sonia, Ronnie, our drummer, and Brett, the bassist.
Okay. Well, so how often do you guys play shows? Do you play?
Not as much as we used to. Actually, for some reason, our previous guitarist Patrick. They came around for dinner. We haven't seen them since before COVID. We went over to Paris. Kind of Sonia and I renew our vows there.
Okay, that's cool.
Took the parents along as well.
Okay.
And then
that's a big deal, Paul.
and as we landed, there was like a COVID struck. So
Shit.
in Paris, the news was just constantly COVID. So when we got back, it was like lockdown. So we got back just in time.
But did you have a nice time while you were there?
Yeah, no, it was very cool. But so we haven't seen, and then Patrick and Darlene, his wife, they always look after the chihuahuas for us when we go overseas or when we go somewhere for a long
That's the thing, having pets, man. Having pets is always the biggest thing. I always have Gary, Gary, looking after my cat.
No, that's to be
that.
someone you know and trust. That
Exactly, because I'm a hectic.
Like
hectic,
children, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a hectic. It's like, don't do this, don't do that. Make sure the windows are closed. This and this and this. Make sure he's got food. Make sure it's clean water every day. Make sure you clean the bowl out. And there's all those things.
That they did these proof of life kind of Skype Zoom calls every day, just to
If you said he's okay, I want to see that he's okay. Send me a video. Yeah, I don't want somebody to say, he's fine. You need to show me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yes, we had dinner with Patrick and Darlene, first time since 2020, and we just had a nice catch up. And what was I saying about that now? Oh my fuck.
Yeah, no, it was with the whole thing, playing shows, because it was playing shows.
Playing shows, yeah. So I was chatting to Patrick, and for some reason we looked back at 2020, because the band started in 2002, so it's like our 21st anniversary this year, which is
that's a lot, dude.
Nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So there's some people who know the band who weren't even
So
born.
how old were you when you started?
32.
Fuck.
I'm 53 this year.
Yeah.
So so we looked, for some reason I looked up something that happened in 2010. Yeah. And it was just like we played Metal for Africa. Just this list of stuff that it was like every month there was something. We released a video or this cover shoot for some little indie magazine or a live show here and there. It's just packed. Yeah. But now it's just sort of kind of petered out because
But it's keeping up. It's it's obviously it's with anything like doing this or whatever. It's keeping up with the content and at least sometimes you can record a song and then release a song. You don't always have to have a video. You don't always have to play a live show. Yeah. But just so those fans at least see that you're doing something.
And then we also kind of created these shows to play. Whereas we sort of rather wait for some people just to come to us and see if we want to play. Like yesterday. Antonio from Trenchtown. we used to play lots of shows when Roar was still down in Gandalf's down in. Yeah,
I went to a metal show the other day at an Armchair Theatre, and it's I used to love my metal, my hardcore, and all that, and I used to love a lot of that stuff. Early 2000s, I was heavy into it, and every now and then I listen to some metal. It's got to be in the right mood to listen to it. But for the first time in years, I went to watch this live show with this metal band, and they were so good. Yeah. And the crowd was so good as well. Just like I don't think I've ever seen like the crowd just like mosh pit and everything, and it was so good. It was just like a refreshing thing where I was like, "Fuck, this is actually really cool." And I feel like going home now and listen to like a shitload of metal because it's been such a while. It really made me like go back and be like, "Oh, this is fucking good." And the band was good. The band was called I think Peasant. I think they were called.
Yeah,
but they were really cool. Like they were like and that venue's changed a lot, like over the years.
I haven't been there in a while. Yeah, it's about 50 meters.
You guys should play there, man. Like
it's about 50 meters from Trenchtown.
Yeah,
just on the block, on the corner. So yeah, we're probably playing that in July. So yeah, it's not like we go out of our way to. I mean, it's just it's a bit of a slog to do a live show. Get rehearsals done and get the set
thing, man.
You can't just play the same old song, so you have to also just get your new songs.
How do you feel about? Because I remember when I first moved here, there was still a lot. Like Mercury was always busy, Assembly was always busy. Gandalf's and what was the other place down the road? The other place that used to do like a lot of metal shows, and they had a lot of metal music playing there.
Well, Gandalf was downstairs and Roar was upstairs with a live band.
Yeah, but what was the place that's closer to After? It's like what was it called?
Gandalf's is right down the street from After.
Oh, is that Gandalf's?
Probably Gandalf's.
Well, I thought Gandalf's is like on the corner. Oh no, that's Trenchtown.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
Gandalf
sorry.
pretty much moved to Trenchtown.
Yeah.
People who went there now go to Trenchtown.
Yeah. So how do you feel with the scene? Because obviously back then there was still like loads of bands playing, and that's why I always say like I don't think COVID killed the live band scene. It was before that. It was fading. Like
yeah, I mean when venues go, but also sometimes you just make a plan and just get a venue. Like friends of ours, Malcolm, he played live guitar for us a couple of shows in 2003, our very first Terminatrix shows. His band Orphan Passage, they play like sometimes like theatres. I think they're doing their album launch at the old where the Fugard Theatre used to be. Because it's more of a kind of doom band, so it's more moody, so it's not like jumping around kind of metal. But yeah, it's a pity that when cool venues go down, but then they also have is it the Woodstock Brewery also starting to do live bands. They had a couple of metal shows there before, and it seems to be going well. And another spot in near Tiger Valley, Ellington's, we played there twice. It's a bit more of a bar, kind of pool tables upstairs. Weird kind of a layout for live bands, but sometimes you have to take what you can get.
What was that show to you? Like, what was that best show that you remember playing that you were like, fuck, this is great?
Man, there's always, to me personally, there are too many things to worry about.
Yeah.
So I can never really enjoy it while I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Maybe like by the last song, we know, okay, everything went well because we've got programmed stuff that we have to sync up and like video projection and things. And I've got like specific guitar amp simulator things that have to work, and if that fucks out, then it's a fuck up. And if the monitors aren't right, then it's always just worrying about technical stuff personally. But then sort of towards the end, okay, then it's fine. There's been so many. I think probably now there are a few. I can't just think of one, but probably when we opened for Ministry when they came down.
Okay.
They played one show in Joburg, and then the Witch Doctor Productions, they asked us to open for them, and we flew up and did the show, and it was very cool. So but mainly because crowd. We've been listening to Ministry since the 80s. Still one of my favorites.
That's a big thing.
That's a cool thing to do.
Awesome.
But then also, our very first live show, it was because we kind of started. I won't say we started big, but just with a bigger bang than just playing some little club. We opened for this very famous German darkwave band, Diary of Dreams.
Okay.
We were asked to open for them, so that was our very, very first live show.
Okay.
I've played lots of live shows before with my other band, VOD, Voice of Destruction, in the late 80s, 90s. So, but for Sonia, that was like her first kind of live show, and she really liked this band as well. And here we like the very first live show she's playing with Terminatrix.
That's awesome.
Opening
that's
for one of her
bands.
So this, and there's a couple of festivals. Just sometimes even just a little show. If everything just goes well, then that's like perfect.
And then obviously you run quite a few different film festivals. And obviously, you've been running the South African Horror Fest for how many years is that now?
It's the 19th edition this year.
19. That is crazy, man. That's amazing, dude. That is amazing that you've kept that up throughout the years, and it's for people like me that love like horror films and stuff like that. It's like that's great. It's great to go there and watch all these features or crazy short horror films and all that. And obviously, you've got such a wide collection of screenings of all these different films. Like, what made you want to start doing the Horror Fest?
I mean, we just grew up. I grew up liking movies and music, so everything I do is always something to do with movies or music. But then horror movies in particular, we just dug
So
dug it from when we were younger. I mean,
so what did you grow up on? Like, what movies did you like grow up on?
I would say, this isn't really a horror movie, but something that I really remembered when I was young. The old Scrooge movie. Which one was it? 1940s one. There's this one scene with one of the ghosts from Christmas Past, where he's got this, walking with his chains. I think it was probably like about 8 when I saw that, and it was like. I always find it really interesting. There'll be that like one little thing that will scare you, you just like constantly like remember it through over time. I've always brought up. I watched everything. I watched all different types of genres, but sometimes there was those things that you just like remember. Like I never forget like Tim Curry and like the Legend. In Legend, where it's got the horns and the hooves, and it's like fucking muscly and built, and I always remember going, fucking hell, that much that if there's a devil, that's what he looks like. No, I mean but also being in South Africa, lots of movies didn't make it here.
Exactly.
And if you're like 10 years old and it's like a 16 or 18 restricted, well, sometimes it was even a 21 age restricted movie. You can't. You don't get to see it, and that was before VHS. So eventually when the video stores came in, then you can actually end up watching stuff that you wouldn't be able to watch for age restriction reasons, or because when it came in on circuit, you were too young to go watch it. But man, all the cool classics. I mean, just like Halloween, even some. But then the video stops. They usually got these like giallos and like these cheap kind of Italian and Spanish movies, stuff that you wouldn't really know, but it's like these kind of crap video covers that they put together, but there's like boobs and stuff on the covers. A knife and boobs. Okay, well, let's rent it.
No, exactly.
Like these cuck movies, like Wife Killer, and then some Jess Franco stuff that was quite hectic, like Bloody Moon, because sometimes it like slipped through without really being censored badly. Because they used to cut the shit out of movies. I mean, I actually, even when Angel Heart came out, what year was that? About 84, 85?
Yeah, something like that.
I actually wrote a letter to the Film and Publications Board.
In South Africa?
Yeah. Why can't we see these movies? In the Fangoria magazine, all these pictures of these movies, why isn't it in the movie? Why did you cut it?
What those people, we've had this conversation before, but what those people don't get is like, that's what we want.
Yeah.
We want to see those. It's like everywhere else, but now you want to say, oh no, that's too violent for you and all this. And I'm just like, and that's why you can't really stop that shit anyway, because of the internet. Anyway, so we all watch it. We all,
and people who don't want to see it won't watch it.
It's exactly. If that's not your thing, then don't fucking watch it.
But it's the conservative view of it will now corrupt people. So people see it, they'll get corrupted and become perverts and shit like that.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. So I mean, but that's why I always say to people, like, South Africa is still very fucking conservative when it comes down to some of that stuff and like films and then the funny thing is the worst is when they want to do it for a certain film and you're like, oh, it's not even that bad, what are they talking about? There's like loads of way other worse films, so it's
and also I mean if something's like blatantly like a horror comedy and they still too bad. But I mean you can list these movies up. I remember when the video stores saw a lot of us, I mean, but then it was also VHS machines were expensive. Well, eventually we got a Betamax machine.
Yeah.
But you used to rent the machine.
That's crazy. I remember somebody telling me that years ago. So you used to rent the Beta.
You rent the machine. A machine, 2 movies, and like a short. So like in a package deal.
But do you get that from the video shop?
Yeah, you get. It was like in this padded bag. I don't know. They had like probably a dozen or 2 machines there.
That's crazy.
And then every Friday we go down there. And then sometimes if your mom's not home, you can walk home with that thing, man.
Yeah.
And so you get like the Machine, 2 movies and a short. And the short's usually like Looney Tunes collection or Benny Hill collection.
Yeah.
Some fucking funny shit like that. But there was this one store in Newlands called Movie Town. It was like this classy, it was like mirrors inside and these sort of little kind of coves.
Yeah.
All the movies packed in there, and they used to get stuff, some cool. I mean, I think on the one release it was Reanimator and Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
So you have to. It gets released on this date, so then you pre-book it so that pick it up on the day of its release.
Because I was that guy that would wait in the video shop where where it's out and you're waiting for the guy to bring it back and you're like, fuck, you get it quickly.
And then sometimes you get there like 12 o'clock supposed to be and the movie's not in there.
And you just wait.
Call them. No, you
call them.
Just call the guys again. Bring it back and watch it.
It's going to be a late fee charge.
Yeah. And it also wasn't a case of you'd keep it for like a week or a weekend or so. It was like one night.
Yeah, it was one night. Yeah, and you got to bring back.
You watch it, and you usually watch it, and then the next morning you watch it again.
Yeah, you watch it again. Yeah, it's isn't that crazy? Because I remember that it's like you rent it, and it's like you want to get your money's worth.
Yeah.
So you watch it, and then watch it again, and then you take it back.
And I mean, movies like Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Even not horror movies, but like Excalibur.
Yeah.
Stuff
Excalibur,
that we just, like kind of movies that are more extreme.
I love that Excalibur poster. It's like so good. Yeah.
No, some great stuff. And so we just consumed movies and horror movies like mad. And then a friend of mine, Werner Offner, his dad's Austrian, his mom Belgian. So when they went overseas and they'd buy movies, he brought back Betamax copy, like a proper copy of Maniac, the original Maniac.
Yeah, cool.
And Dress to Kill and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So it's stuff that we definitely wouldn't get here.
Like
Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah. What were your parents like when you were watching like all these films and shit like when you were a kid?
It was sort of like, no, what's this like, heads getting chopped off again stuff that you're watching. So they and it's like the music as well. We went from like listening to Kiss to Slayer and more extreme stuff. They sort of complained a bit, but not. They knew that there's nothing they can really do about it, but as long as we don't go off the rails, which we obviously didn't. But just the list of, that's why I can never make a top 3 or even a top 10.
But that's why I watched
movies.
I've watched all the genres. I'll definitely. Yeah, it was always watching out. It was also whatever was in the video shop as well that you wanted to watch. And that's why you would spend so long looking at all the films. And that's why I always say sometimes it was just the front cover. I'd be like, sold, gonna get it, gonna fucking watch that. And there were certain parts of my childhood that that the certain films made. It had an impact on me as a kid, either as a filmmaker or just watching these films, and you would take that video to your friend's house or whatever, and we're like, cool, we've got the new Nightmare on Elm Street or whatever, and you just sit there and you'd watch it. Or if we know certain mums and dads of your friends they don't want you to watch it, so you'd go to that certain friend's house and you would like sit there and you would just like watch it. But it was always a big part of growing up and checking those films.
Yeah, the first time I saw the original Halloween, somehow rented it, but neither of my brothers. I think my one brother was in the army at the time. I don't know where the other one was. I think my dad was working late. My mom was doing something. So I sat there watching Halloween on my own. Yeah. So that was quite an experience because I was about 13 or something. So. Sometimes it's also a case of I've never really had movies that really, except jump scares. That's just a trick.
I never
movies that really scared me or stayed with you like.
Yeah, it's always a character or like a scene or the music or the vibe, and you're like, oh fuck, this is like scary or something. When you were a kid. Yeah. But I, even now, like I never jump on movies. Like I've got this one friend, Andrew. He just fucking jumps on everything. If I'm at the cinema, he's always like jumping like constantly. And there's it's one of those scenes where there's going to be a jump, and you're like, oh, it's coming, and you still get the jump even though it's coming.
No, that's also the thing with horror movies, which is too often they just rely on the old jump scare, and then it's It's a bit of a cheap trick, but it's essential.
Yeah, but that's why I say, with certain horror films, you've got to give them something. So it's like with Fry Barry. I wouldn't even call Fry Barry a horror film, but there's horror elements in there. But if you're gonna make like a horror film, if you haven't got the jump scares, then you need the gore or the monster. You got to give them something, whether it's the jump scares or it's the alien or the monsters. You got to give them something. And if you don't have the jump scares and you don't have the monsters, then like as a horror fan, you're just like, well, nothing's really fucking happening in this movie. You know?
Yeah, no, but that's what I like about horror movies is you can have any kind of genre flow through it. I mean, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's like fucking comedy deluxe, and or like Street Trash that you're working on. It's like gore is like the focus, or something where it's more of a kind of a suspense, ghost, paranormal type thing. Yeah. So I love the fact that you can just weave any of those things through.
And it happens more and more now. It's that genre mashing thing where it can just be this crazy, wacky movie with elements of sci-fi, elements of horror. And that's the thing. There is no rules. You can do all that stuff. But there's a lot of movies I look at in the 80s and I think that would never work now. Yeah. That would never work. Like I watched... if it came out now, it would just be like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. But it's great for its time, and it's weird for its time, and it's just like I watched Earth Girls Are Easy like a few months ago. I haven't watched that for years. Such a fucking weird film. It's the tone and everything in it, and it's like Jim Carrey's like really young in it. One of the Wayne brothers is in it, and it's such a weird tone in the movie. I'm like, what? How did they pitch this movie? How did they pitch this movie? How did they? And there's like a little dance sequence in there and stuff, and it's just like it'll just fucking never work now. You know what I mean? It would never work. If they had to reboot it, it would be like a completely different thing. But it's one of those things with the certain elements in those type of films where it's just like it would just, it would just never fucking work.
Actually, remember now 2 movies that I can probably pinpoint that I found scary at the time when I watched it was one of my favorites, the original Shining.
Yeah. That woman in the bathroom always scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, it was hectic. And Phantasm, the original Phantasm.
Yeah.
Because I was also about 10 years old when I saw that.
Yeah.
And we watched those at the drive-in. I think it was a double feature. We were on holiday in Hartenbos. That's down in Muscle Bay way, I think. And they had a drive-in there, and then they had a double feature. It was the first Mad Max and Phantasm.
Oh, that's great. That's a great double feature.
And I think the second night was Deadly Blessings, that more obscure Wes Craven movie, this kind of religious Quaker type sect.
Yeah.
To the right. And what was the other one? But that double feature, Mad Max and freaking Phantasm, man. That was so cool. Yeah. And also, when talking about the video stores, we walked into the video store and it's just, there's the Road Warrior on the shelf, and I never got to see it in cinema because I think it probably had an 18 restriction.
Yeah.
Can grab it straight off the shelf immediately.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Kids today, it's not the same. It's not the same.
I envy kids of today who can actually go and discover these movies.
But you got to go discover it. On a lot of these platforms, they're missing out on all that cool shit that they have no idea about. They have to dig to go look for it. Yeah. Like the people that do want to dig and do like all those old stuff, whether they've got that older brother or older sister that introduced them to a few stuff, and then they know about it a little bit more than other people.
And it's like kids of the 90s or the 80s who then find their brother's record collection.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of delve into that same kind of thing. Now they can access anything anywhere. So, but then it's just so much. I think it could be kind of overwhelming, unless depending what you like. Yeah. But if you're like a 15-year-old kid now and you like horror movies, man, the stuff you can now dig into and discover.
I've always found, living here for the past 16 years, I've always found, because I know obviously there was a lot of stuff that wasn't available in South Africa and didn't come out or was hard to find or whatever, or it's definitely not on TV. I always find when I talk about like a lot of movies, like people, they just haven't seen them.
Yeah.
They just don't know about it. And obviously growing up in England or like in America or somewhere like that, obviously everything's on your doorstep. Yeah. So over here, obviously it's not, like when I was in film school, the lecturer would like talk about all these films, and I'm literally like the only one who's going, yeah, I've seen that, and everybody else is like hasn't seen it. I'm like, why haven't you seen it? But then I know it's that not everything was always available here to find, and it's like when I was younger, I used to collect all these like collectible figures and stuff from like Marvel or DC or whatever from films, And so I used to go to all those collector shops when I was a kid. You know, even then when I was a kid, I was buying that stuff. And then over here, you don't get any of that stuff here. You really have to like look hard for it. You know, yeah. And then now that you said before that you redid your vows. It was before COVID, right?
Yeah.
So why did you want to do that?
I don't know. It's just we wanted to go to Paris, and there's this one particular church that Sonia really loves, and she said she would actually would have been cool to get married there, but we obviously got married in South Africa. We thought, no, well, let's just do that.
Yeah. And how long have you guys been together now?
Oh, since 2000.
Yeah. She's going to go, no, it was 1988.
No, it was 2000, 2001. We got together, and got married in 2005.
Yeah.
So I think it was for our 15th anniversary?
Yeah, but you guys are so cool together, man. You guys like mix like so well together. Or, the stuff that you like and everything.
I struck it lucky.
Because
that's the cool thing. We do everything together. It's not like I like rugby.
Yeah, exactly.
She likes knitting.
Yeah.
And on weekends we do our own thing.
Yeah.
So we like the same stuff.
Yeah.
Whenever we do something, we do it together. So from setting up the festival to.
Yeah, and how was your folks when you redid the vows? How were your folks?
No, my mum was crying.
Is it?
Yeah, no, it was cool.
My boys getting remarried again, redoing the vows.
Yeah, no, it was fun. But then the year after that, it was just.
So you know what the next step is? It's the baby.
No.
Is there going to be a little metal baby in the film?
No, that's what everyone after 10 years, everyone sort of gave up on that. No, we've got 2 already.
Yeah.
Sultan and Khaleesi, the 2 chihuahuas, they're a handful enough, thanks.
Exactly.
No real kids for us.
Yeah.
But we just initially, I think early on, we didn't even get onto, I think you asked getting started with the Horror Fest. I read Fangoria magazine as a kid, heavily into horror movies, and they had these ads for the Weekend of Horrors that they always had. It's like a little convention festival thing.
Yeah.
And that's something that I really would have loved to have here when I was 16.
Yeah.
And obviously there was just nothing like that. The closest to that, but not even close, was the Cape Town Film Festival they used to have at the Baxter Theatre.
Okay.
But then they'd bring in some cool movies and stuff like Company of Wolves I saw there. Okay, Repo Man, not a horror movie, but classic cult movie. Yeah. Lair of the White Worm, Ken Russell movie. So you got to see some cool stuff there, but each festival is about 2-3 interesting horror off-center movies.
Yeah.
But then we just decided that, we also made this short film in 2004 called Imperfection. It's a thing that I went to after there was the Cape Town Film and Television School in Mowbray.
Okay.
I went there. I was at university across 89 to 91. 92 I went to film school. And then the year after that, it was like, okay, well, they're charging a bit too much for what they're teaching me here.
Yeah,
they're telling you, the books.
The prices is nuts what they have now.
I just, I can figure this shit out myself. And just after a year, went off and did my own thing. Yeah. So I made this short film, which I planned to do back in film school, but never got to do. And in between that, my band VOD, we got busy. We went overseas. We had a German record label. We recorded in the UK, did a European tour, sort of your mid-90s.
Cool. Yeah.
So then I got back again after a couple of years, and then I started getting back into just doing movie-related stuff, and then made the short film with Sonia as the lead character. Sonia is like my Gary for you.
Yeah.
Whenever you need someone, Sonia's going to be there.
They'll
But, I made a couple of another short film, like this werewolf short film, but mainly when we make something, it's a case of we just pair it with a music video, so we kind of double whammy it.
Double. Yeah.
Instead of making short film, just make a little movie inside our music video. Yeah. But then, so it was about 2004, we just had the short film, there was no way to screen it. Yeah. Can't send it to SABC or... there were no real film festivals that would take it because it was pretty dark and bloody and some killings and stuff in it, obviously. And so we just decided to create our own freaking platform, and because there had to be some other people out there that
Yeah, exactly.
made things that can't get screened anywhere, or experimental stuff. So we just slapped this. Well, didn't slap it together, but we had to start from scratch and try and figure it out. We didn't have anyone to consult to ask, how do you do this?
Yeah.
The
You
first step
learn
was
as you go along.
Yeah.
It just gets better.
First step was trying to get enough stuff together, and then, where will you be screening it? So obviously in Cape Town will be the Labia Theatre.
Yeah.
And I've been going to the Labia Theatre for probably a decade leading up to that, watching very cool movies there, stuff that you never got to see, like Apocalypse Now, Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, amazing.
Stuff that they just re-released there for like a week or so back, when they were strictly like an art house kind of a cinema.
Yeah.
Rock Horror Picture Show, which we now do regularly at the Horror Fest.
Yeah. And that's always busy every year, isn't it? Everybody just loves that.
People, not just people come back, but people who've never been there always have to come and experience it. So it's a must do. So we started off with you go look for a couple of public domain movies like Night of the Living Dead and those kind of things, and then our short film and some weird little music videos that local guys made, and met up with somehow, I can't remember how, but connections at Fangoria magazine. They put out some stuff, and then people contacted us, and then it was still a case of physically mailing a DVD, and then the software wasn't that great to just convert the stuff and to screen it. It was a nightmare sometimes. It was what I actually had to do for the first short film collection. The DVD burning just didn't want to work so well, so I actually played it out of it was the old Premiere, not the new Premiere, the original Premiere. Before Final Cut kind of pushed them out the way, and before they came back in, I actually played it onto a DV tape, onto my camera. So I played it from the DV tape at the cinema, and it was like a nightmare getting the technical issues sorted out. So it was like this crazy little thing that we started, and then we thought, okay, well, it wasn't that bad, let's do it again. And then there were more people sending stuff, contacted AFTA, and they sent
and now
us
you
some
only
stuff.
accept digital files.
No. Well, whatever. I mean, I don't think anyone even bothers to do. I mean, we actually had some people sending us some stuff on VHS, like this found footage kind of fake found footage thing. But that was like 10 years ago. So no one's actually sent us a DVD or a file a physical file in quite a while. But we just slowly but surely grew from there, and people. It's obviously it will always be more niche than a kind of a regular film festival. Yeah. So it's always a struggle to try and get people in there.
It comes down to all those things with the advertising and people speaking to other people and getting down. But everybody loves it, dude. It's great what you're doing. Keep up what you're doing. It's great to watch all those like horror films and all those crazy. Wacky films, but what's the date this year for Horrorfest?
It's always over Halloween time, so it'll be like around about 28th of October till like the 10th of November, about 10 days just before Halloween into November.
Yeah. Amazing. Anyway, Paul, thank you so much for having a chat. It's been great talking to you, and we'll talk soon.
I think we'll have to, there's still lots we can chat, so we can do a part 2 at some stage.
No, definitely.
And we have to get you for one of ours, so we'll do that at some stage.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Cool, man.
Cool.
Thanks.
Wow. Fishies!